thing. You know, what the heck is it? Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm driving the bus too, you know, all at the same time. And
Right.
it's saying go live, go live. And anyway,
Are we live? Yeah, that's got to be
yes.
confusing.
Yes, I've seen a few people writing in stuff. What I want everybody to do is write in there what makes you happy, what
Right
tickles
on.
your trigger, what lifts your spirits, what and I'm going to try to keep up with everybody and write down some stuff. And oh, there's Nina. Nina's in there. Nina, thanks for the Ana Karana shirts. You know, we're putting them out there. It's giving me energy tonight because I worked really late last night and long and hard today. Oil field work is just no fun, you know.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and I'm really tired. I tell you, I could have scrapped the show and went right to bed, but I am a trooper.
You are, Robert. Thank you.
You're an amazing man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I got some really nice emails this week, and it just, there's no way I could disappoint the crowd and the people, I tell you, because some of the letters I get are just so lifting, and people out there really appreciate. Maybe I'm the one that makes their week fun and lighthearted and joyous, and by some of the information or things I say or do or whatever, you know, behind the scenes, I'm really working hard. And it's not all about me. It's about you out there. It's about Trina. It's about Lucky. It's about Grandpa Brian. It's about David Castle, Susie Q, Jules, and Nina the Mystic, and Pamela Jean. It's all about you people out there.
Yep.
This is what makes the world go round. Tell everybody else. Get them to come here and listen to us and all the wonderful information we're going to do and give out, and good times we're going to have, and the connection we're making with the rest of the Soul Tribe. And it doesn't cost anything, because once you participate, you listen in, you're part of Soul Tribe, just like that.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, Gaza Cav's in the house tonight. All right. He is intuition. I didn't know at the time. Yeah, feeling. See, and I was just talking about it. He says intuition. I just bought this book, everybody. It's called A Little Bit of Intuition. I'm reading it, and we're going to do a show on intuition. So if you have a story about intuition, you know, and maybe how it saved your life, maybe how it changed you or did things, because I think of all of us that had some intuition along the line somewhere that got us to do something. Trina, you got a good story on your intuition?
I've got a few stories on intuition. Multiple times I think it has helped save my life and protect me. So yeah, it's happened multiple times. But one time was profound because I was in high school at a desert party, and some kids, I think, were fiddling with a gun, because I don't think it was on purpose. But I literally was talking to this female, and I don't even remember her name. This ever, you know, it's been so many years. But I literally heard this voice in my head, and it was loud, and it was female, and it said it would be wise to leave now. And, you know, there's people talking all around you, fires, and, you know, it's a desert party. So, you know, I'm like, what, you know, thinking, what was that? You know what I mean? So I kind of brushed it off, and literally within like 2 seconds, it came in again louder. And it was like, it would be wise to leave now. And I was like, okay, hold the phone. So I went to look for the guy I was with who had the keys so we could leave. And I was like, hey, and I was like, I grabbed the guy and I went to grab his shoulder because he was just, you know, not too far from me. I was like, hey, I think we need to go. And as soon as I said that, we heard the gunshot go off, and the girl I was talking to got hit in the shoulder.
Ooh.
But if I would have been standing there, I could have taken her straight to the chest.
Wow.
And it was like, it was crazy because she was way shorter than me. So I was like, holy crap. So yeah, that was one time I think it literally did save my life, because if I wouldn't have moved when I did, that could have been pretty bad. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Lucky, you got an intuition story?
Well, I don't go with much intuition anymore because of the damn voices all the time and all the different spirits. But intuition was always been with me as a kid. I mean, so many different situations where, I mean, I worked for a pet shop and during Christmas season, and we were very busy. And I told my girlfriend at the time, because I worked with her, and I said, yeah, you better put your purse in the back room. She says, oh, I just got here. I know, but we keep our purses at the front under the cash register. Nothing will happen. I'm like, yeah, just put it in the back office. It'll be safer back there, And she moved it. Within 15 minutes, the place got robbed. He took everything from the cash register. He took everything from the purses behind the register, because he came behind it to take everything. He saw the purses. He had them throw them in. And so, yeah. And yeah, so I've always lived on my intuition earlier, but now with all the, speaking to spirits and everything out, I don't, I don't have that option anymore. It's one of those weird things where there's just so many different voices now. Sometimes my own voice kind of gets overshadowed.
Oh yeah,
It's not
yeah,
bad.
yeah. So do you think? Now, I'll tell you my story in about a second here, but from your perspective now, do you think that intuition is our guides, or guiding spirits, or is that just our higher self then?
I really believe it's my higher self. It's a different voice. For me, for my intuition is a different voice. It's just me. While the other voices, for the most part, most of my guides come with a place of compassion. So there's a compassionate feeling when they talk to me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a different kind of voice. It's like a lot of times for me, for my guides, it's like someone who speaks another language, and they're trying to put the right words in. But for me, it's me, so it's my words. So my intuition is always, when it was strongest, was just me, straightforward. Do this, no games.
Mm-hmm.
While the guides, it's always innuendo and ideas, and translating things and trying to get the right idea to me.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
But that's for me.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's exactly a little voice. Like my biggest one that I remember was I was like 16, 17, maybe somewhere in that area. I had an old car. What was it? A Mercury Montego MX. I'll never forget it. And so me and my buddies are driving down the road. And this was right around homecoming time or prom time or somewhere around that time. And these other guys drove down the road. We were stopped at the highway, and they were pulling in, and they had eggs, and they egged us. And I'm like, oh, egg all over the windshield. And so, I turned the wipers on,
Oh boy.
got out there, wiped it off. They're speeding down the road. I did a donut freaking down the road. We were going to get them, driving like 90 miles an hour over the railroad tracks. Swoosh, Dukes of Hazzard style, and then they turned down this, and this was my home road. So my house is on this road. So I knew this road like nothing. And we turned down this horseshoe, and the horseshoe was gravel. It was that, kind of like pea gravel or whatever. Maybe it wasn't, but it was real dry. So it was very dusty, and it's dark. And they're just going to beat the band, and this road is really long before the U-turn part. But the dust is coming up, and I'm gaining on them, and I'm riding in their dust cloud. And something is telling me, stop. And I could literally hear the voice. Yep. Stop now. I slammed on the brakes. The dust cleared, and they were sitting in the middle of the road right in front of us. And here we were. If I would have kept going, I would have just rear-ended them. I'd have got them all. Whoa. I'd have never seen them.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
It's so interesting too. In high school, my brother and my ex-boyfriend, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, they went out and they went out when they were all crazy all night long. So they were on their way home and they decided to play chicken with their headlights off in one of the neighborhoods close to our homes. And they ended up actually crashing into each other.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, but my brother called my mom in a panic, and he was like, we crashed, we're hurt, we need you to come. And then we were like, well, where are you? He's like, we don't know. We were driving with our headlights off, trying to outrun each other. And we don't know. We're somewhere in this vicinity. So my mom was like, oh my God. She's like, we have to go find him. She's like, let's go, get in the car. So my mom and I took off in the car, and I literally could hear, go left, go right, go left, go straight. I literally drove us straight to the accident. My mom was like,
Wow.
whoa. And it was a lot of turns, and it was in a crazy neighborhood where you can get locked in the golf course loops of craziness. So yeah, I somewhere I'd never been before, and I took us there turn by turn. Yep.
Cool. Very cool. We got a lot of people piling in. Oh my gosh, we got some new people tonight. We got The Way is here, and Teresa D'Anton is here, and Isby. I haven't seen Isby in a while. Thank you for coming. And Gaza's here, and Organic Intelligence is here. Thanks for coming tonight. Oh my. I just want to give a shout. Mossy Man is in the house. Witchy Moon is in the house. And Brenda, Milky's mom, is in the house. Thanks for coming. And Jill Jarrett's in the house tonight. And Susan Sashi, I think I see her on Truth Seekers here. And Pamela Jean, I think I mentioned her. Okay, I went all the way back. And Genevieve. Anyway. Anyway, okay.
Welcome, everybody.
Have you guys noticed that your intuition kicks in more when it's important?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's if you listen to it. See, that's the thing. I think like sometimes I get focused so much on what I need to do that I don't want to listen to anything else. And that gets me in trouble. And I'm starting to learn to look around, take my time, maybe think about it a little more, and then, comprehend it a little and listen to those outside voices. Try to hear them.
Usually when it's important for me to pay attention to something, I get a feeling too.
Yes.
Like I get some type of a sense of a feeling of like, pay attention, something's not right. I just get some kind of sense of awareness of it.
Yeah. Because, I don't know how see, Lucky, this is why you're on. See, because the thing is, how do you hear those? Do you feel them? Because they don't have, remember we were talking about Wayne was talking about the voice thing, the voice, your voice box. We have a voice. They don't. They have to project with thoughts or images or something that makes sense in your head, and you translate it into voice. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, it is so hard to explain what goes on with these different outside of me voices. It's not so much voices as it's, oh boy, how do I put it? Sometimes it's images. It's images from my own life, but I understand that it's they're trying to translate something, trying to apply it, like a frame of reference. They'll apply a frame of reference, and I have to translate it. And because I've been doing it so long, it's like, okay, that frame of reference means this, and then I translate into this, and that's when the words start flowing because we made the connection. They give me the reference, and then from there, I use that part of my life to hear what they're trying to say to me. But again, it's like talking to someone with another language, where because I spend my life just with people from other languages. I go to Canada, talk to the Quebecois, the French. My wife is Thai, and she's back and forth. I mean, our cats know more Thai than I do, but a lot of times she'll click back into her because she'll spend her time with her Thai friends, and she'll click back into her Thai, and have trouble translating stuff. And for me, it's like I understand what she's saying because I get an image in my head of what she's referencing. She's trying to say, although what she's saying might be total gibberish, which, in my beginning of the marriage, I'd be like, what the heck are you talking about? I have no idea. But now it's like I'm getting the images in her head coming into my head. And although what she's saying in English doesn't make any sense, I understand it from the frame of reference. And that's what it's like talking to spirits. I'm just trying to apply it back again, because once they get the connection, then I can use that to understand what they're trying to say. Now, sometimes it might be a little bit weird and gibberish, but I get the frame of reference and I go with it, and it makes sense. Yeah, and then there are beings from different dimensions that I'm dealing with now, which is something I'm not quite sure about. But I have the translator, I have the intermediaries, and they're working with me.
It's so amazing. It seems to me that that's a perfect explanation of how they can only work with the points of reference that you have available within your construct. So like they only have your library to work with to implement information to you. So yeah, that's why I think a lot of us get the information back on our with our own memories. Like they'll show you your own life to give you a reference point to associate, and that's exactly how it works for me too. I see.
Yeah, it's all your perspective, but you can't. It's the weird thing is you're using your perspective without your ego. Someone was talking to me, they're like, I'm trying to help them, but they just don't understand, and I have all this great information, I'm a awake person, and and they're a awake person, but they just don't want to accept it. And I'm like, you can be giving everything you have, but because you're using your perspective, they're not ready for your perspective yet. You just need to pull back. You can't give them all this information. They're not ready for it, but they need it now. I'm like, no, they don't. Because if they need it now, you could have the conversation and they would be able to accept it. Since they can't accept it, you just have to give them what they can and then step back. But, everyone has their own way. Of course, that's also me giving advice to someone who wasn't ready to receive it. So that's what goes back onto my ego.
And that's why, if you think like you can go to the Akashic records and astral travel there and learn all the knowledge of the world and bring it back with you, you can't, because you can't learn how to build a rocket if you're not a rocket scientist.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
You'd go there and say, yeah, I learned how to build a rocket. You come back here and, well, I work in a restaurant and I flip burgers. It does you no good. It does you no good. So speaking of feelings and things like that, my big question was, this was going to be a happy show. It's going to be whatever, kind of thing. But I wanted to know, like, do spirits, are spirits in like moods? Are they happy? Do they experience joy there? I mean, the ones that are talking, are they just real serious and just want to talk and da 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 da? But are they happy? Speaking of feelings, do they come across happy, or they just blah?
They feel to me similar to us.
Yeah, but I mean, it ain't like they can, have a day off for work, kind of thing, and go, woo, it's the weekend, I'm gonna party, and kind of thing.
Kind of the same as you. You don't get a vacation from your reality or your perception. Kind of the same.
Yeah, but I'm like, I don't know is it because the construct's the same, or I mean, if you're on that side, you don't have all those limitations as we do. It's like, hey, like when you go to Sedona, I see your smile on your face and you're all lit up like, well, I'm going, see. Yeah. But spirit he can be there in a second. I want to go to Sedona, poof, kind of thing.
Yeah, but see, the joy is experiencing and having something new. That's part of creation. So that kind of experience probably is similar to when they're creating stuff. That might be how I feel when I go to Sedona, is for them while they're creating things, because you know what I mean? I know that they do have all those emotions like we do. They just seem to have a little bit more control over them, but not all of them. It depends on what. Yeah, the astral, forget it. But So, well, yeah, some of them,
It's that's a tough question because it's a range. Because
yeah.
one of my guides he passed away as a, I don't know if he was a 4-year-old or a 12-year-old. You know, he was small, but he's also 500 years old. So he's both. He's the childlike, you know, goofy toy spirit having fun. Then he's also the knowledge of 500 years that he's been exposed to, very serious. And, you know, what I get, and he is one of the most profound, down to earth kind of spirits, but he's also the most prankster, fun go lucky. You know, there was one time where he was trying to tell me, because there's a long story in that, but he was trying to give me an idea, and he's laughing because I'm not getting it. And he's refusing to give me more information, and he's giving me little bits and pieces. And like a child, he's laughing because I don't understand what he's talking about, but he wants me to know. And then he's going on and on about the story. And I'm like, I'm still back at stage 1. He goes, yeah, fine. And he keeps talking like a small child would talk. And, you know, but then another time, just a couple of days later, he's explaining, you know, the spiritual kind of thing. You know, I got to know, understand this and understand this. And, oh, yeah, there's some other guys right here that need to deal with you. And he's talking to me like a grandfather would. And this is the same guide. You know, I know him. He's still that 3.5 foot tall, because he also changes sizes, which is another problem. He's a child. He can do that. Yeah, sometimes he's in front of me, walking in front of me like a toddler would. Other times he wants to stand on my shoulder like a child would. And I picked up a few years ago to try to free him, and that didn't work out as I planned. But yeah, he's one of my favorites. And you know, and he's also taught me that you can't free all spirits. It's not your job to free all of them. Your job is to only ask them when they want to be free. And if when they say yes, that's when you can act, but you can't force them. You force them, you're putting them into a place that they don't want to be. You're putting them into a bad place. That's one of the toughest things I had to learn, that you know, and maybe mistakes I made previously where I sent spirits away.
You know what I'm liking so much better is seeing if I can have them find their light, their inner light. That's my favorite thing to do, because then they go where they're supposed to. You're not telling them, directing them anything, anywhere. You're basically just telling them, look what's inside of you, and connect to that. And if they can do that, most of them just shoot off. It's like there's no talking about nothing. They're just gone. So I think they're going to where they're supposed to if they can activate their heart and get that love light shining.
Yes. And they have to disconnect from whatever the pain that's the anchor that's causing them to be here. And you know, there's a couple where I've kept visiting over and over again to try to drop that anchor off, and they're not ready yet. So okay, fine.
Well, it's nice to hear that they laugh and have fun, you know, with things. I mean, you know, there's, you know, that is a good thing. I mean, it makes me happy.
The ones that are joyful want to be where joy is. The ones who have passed away and they want to be with their loved ones and experience the joy, and they're not ready to give up their loved ones. You know, that's another series in where loved ones will actually hold on to some of their, you know, someone they miss terribly. And when you miss them, you're kind of pulling them back. And as long as you can miss them, but feel joy and thinking about them, it really does benefit them. If you can miss somebody and feel joy, you're actually giving them positive energy. When you feel sadness and you miss them, and you know, thinking of how you lost them, thinking of their death, it pulls them down into a lower, you know, sadness level.
It's like a radio signal, and love and joy is you're sending them like those when we get butterflies in our stomachs and when we feel really euphoric and happy. And then if you're sending them grief and sadness, it's like sending them like disease. Basically, it's a super low frequency. And so, yeah, we got to be careful what we think about the ones we love, because I think it affects them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So back to the create what makes being in that higher, happier mood. We had so many serious shows lately. I just wanted to say, you know, we got to have some lighthearted shows. And I asked everybody to try to put in the beginning, and I don't know if everybody's seen it because you'd have to scroll back to the beginning, but it was what is making you happy? Put it in the comments. I see we got Steve in the house. Steve is in the house. Hey, Steve. And who else? Oh, Paul from Newcastle's in the house. I hope I didn't miss anybody. But
Hi,
Deborah
everyone.
Sloan is in the house too. But anyway, it was things, and I think it was Pamela Jean. She said being creative makes her happy. And somebody else said ABBA, listening to ABBA makes them happy. Music, yes, music makes them happy. And I'm thinking, yeah, you know, you want to bring those spirits in and give them good vibes, you know, you got to be happy too, right?
Mhm.
And then it, you know, I mean, people don't think about it. You know, hey, if I'm sad, I'm going to make the whole spirit world sad. And really, you know, you're like a, how am I going to describe it? You're like the thing that zaps all the flies, and the flies see that blue light and they got to, you know, come to it. And we're the blue light, right?
Yeah.
And they're all coming to us. I think that Lucky, I think they're all around you because you got that blue light.
I got my wife running around.
Oh, there you go. I just said the wife is running, not the blue light.
No, it's yeah. I mean, the spirits, they're interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what they're up to, sometimes it's beyond me. Sometimes I'm trying to catch up, especially with the messages, you know, always with the messages and how we can improve this and how we can improve that. You know, it's always for the better good sort of thing. And it benefits me, you know, whenever I help the spirits, whatever helps source, it helps me, it improves me. But sometimes, just some days I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm tired. I don't want to get up. I don't want to go, you know. And it's like, no. We just, it'll take a few minutes. It'll just take a few minutes. We'll just go. We'll do this. You know, you'll spread your light. It'll be great. No, it's usually a puzzle piece where I have to go, okay, wait a second, guys. What about this? And then I get into it and go to the next step. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting. You know, the funny thing is that we're inhibited in our lives. Well, spirits were also inhibited in their existence too. You know, they can't experience what we're experiencing. So they get some benefit from helping us achieve what, you know, to benefit. When we help work, we're so confused. We're like kind of like tools for them. They're assisting us, we're assisting them. Everyone's happy family. And even people who said they don't dream, or they don't, you know, they don't have the power, they can't manifest, we can all do it. It's just your own personal belief in yourself, and that's one of the biggest problems, is self-doubt. And when I can bring someone out to stop self-doubting themselves, it feels great.
Absolutely. That's a great feeling.
Yeah, because
like talking about things that make you really happy, that's always been one of my most favorite things in the world, is to just help somebody see something from a different place that literally works for them and benefits them in some way. So that's one of my most favorite things that makes me happy.
Yeah. I like what makes me happy is making others happy, believe it or not. Not so much for myself. It's like I can get something nice for me, but I rather see somebody else smiling when I got something for them.
Yeah, giving feels better than receiving most times.
Yes.
As long as they appreciate it. That's one of the problems in the current situation we live in right now.
Yeah.
There are people who appreciate everything, the little things, and they're the people that just make me feel so great. When I just try to help them, you know, it was only something little, and they're so appreciative, you know, and there's also no obligation for them to return it to me. And I that drives me crazy when someone says, oh, when I help them and then they go, oh, I have to help you. And it's like, it's just how it works.
Yeah.
It's so hard to explain.
Yeah.
Pay it forward. That's what I always say.
Absolutely.
Because if you help me, I'll help somebody else. Because obviously you don't need to help, you're helping me. But that's always a wonderful thing to do, is help somebody. You can't give more than yourself and your time, your knowledge, or your just compassion. People come in here. People, I know it means a lot to me when somebody writes me an email and says, I really enjoyed the show. It's really changed me, or I enjoy listening to you and Trina and whoever you got on that night. And, it's just changed my life, or it's made a difference. It's made me think, you guys helped me get through some difficult times. And I'm thinking, I did? How did I do that?
I think it's because we feel like we have a community here of people that share questions and a lot of common thoughts about what's going on and how things are going. And I think when you're looking at things outside of just what's being fed, you really start to need support from other people that can see similar to what you might be seeing. So I think solidifying each other's reality is very comforting, because knowing that we're not alone in seeing different things and going, so I think that's a huge part of it. I know that it was huge for me finding all of you guys, because it's like finding people that you can really talk with and be open with, and you don't fear a lot of judgment. You just can be real, and that's a huge thing to have.
That is something really important, and I want to touch on that. When you said judgment, there's so many people out there that are afraid to tell their story or talk because of the person that they're talking to judges them on that story, and then says, well, you should have done this better, or that sucks, or blah blah blah, and oh, what a horrible person you are for doing that, or what. Don't judge people. It's their story. It's in the past. They did it. They just want to get it off their chest sometimes, and you just got to say, wow, that's interesting, that's different, that's cool. I'm not passing judgment on you. That's fine, whatever it is, unless it's something really
sometimes
bad,
if anybody, if somebody can hear that they've overcome something maybe that you're struggling with, that usually can always benefit other people struggling with similar issues. So I think it's beautiful, especially if you're not living in that past, you're, in a more positive future and present. But I think that testimonials of success give hope to people. So
well, even failures. Hey, I went I went for that job interview and it sucked. I made a fool out of myself and I didn't get the job. And then that's when, that telling that person, you get a little consoling. Maybe that's what they're looking for. Maybe they just, need that consoling. And the next time they'll be like, yeah, last time was bad, but, so-and-so said, hey, cheer up. And, you're a trooper. There's nothing wrong with you. The guy was probably a jerk. You'll get the next job, blah, blah, blah. And then that wasn't so bad. I'll do better next time, and then you move on, and maybe that's what it takes. So it's always something, but giving of yourself is really important. That's in my book.
True.
Let's see, somebody else there, Pamela Jean, I think, brought it up and said she gets joy out of making bread.
Right on.
That's something I know too well right now. Organic Intelligence says, Robert, you have come so far going live and making videos. And thank you so much. See, something like that just brightened my day. That made me happy.
Yeah, your heart just exploded. You could see it on your face.
I know, that was so nice. See, that's what I mean. It's something like that. Okay, that was really good. See, I'm just so happy. Aquarian Jargo is in the house too. All right. Let's see. Genevieve's in the house. Did I mention Genevieve's in the house? All right. Anyway, let's see what else. I seen somebody says making cinnamon style. That was Teresa. Teresa said that. Teresa Diaton. And Mary Wynn says, I'm grateful for you all.
Oh, Mary, me too. It was such a joy to meet Mary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I hope we all have met up once before in a different lifetime, or we will meet sooner or later.
I really hope that comes to pass. I know it will. It's just how many will be present and how many times we can get together.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. That is for sure. And the world is going to be changing. I think we all know it inside, and it's kind of a Debbie Downer for me. I get told all the time, maybe I focus a little too much on the negative world out there. And it's kind of true. I do focus a lot on that, but it's like, I focus on it and get all this knowledge so I can be ready. Like I'm putting on a pair of gloves, but then I forget about looking at the brighter side of things sometimes. Like, there are brighter things out there. It ain't all that bad. Go outside and stand out there and look around and go, hey, the world really hasn't changed. It's all in my head.
I struggle with that too a lot. The weight of the information versus how to live and still, have a smile on your face and not be just consumed by, oh my goodness, because there's a lot of that right now. Like, wow. So, for me, if I don't have balance, I get out of balance. So I have too much information. If it's negative, I'll allow so much of that into my head space for a day, process the information, and then I make sure and I meditate with something that's healing, raising vibration, listening to music, doing something to shift the vibration. Because boy, if you don't get some balance with those frequencies, they'll consume you.
Yes. Oh yeah. So do all those things we were talking about. Like I got a whole bunch of things on here that you might want to do. Besides, the one thing that we don't want to do is what? What's the one thing we don't want to do? What's the worst thing you can do?
Lower your frequency to where you're in a really bad place.
Yeah, and how do you do that? What's the worst
Fear,
thing?
anger, rage. There's a million.
Yeah, all those things come from what? TV.
Oh, TV.
Don't watch TV. Your mood, if you quit watching TV, and your vibration will go up automatically.
Which is funny because I haven't watched TV in years. The only time I watch TV is for New Year's Eve to watch the ball drop. That's about it. And that's the funniest thing. I do not. And my friend of mine is always asking, have you seen this on Netflix? I don't know Netflix. Have you seen this on Amazon? Well, you have Amazon Prime? Yes, I have Amazon Prime. No, I have not seen that. And then the TV.
You're lucky. It's been 2008 since I've watched TV.
I don't know when I stopped. Honestly, I have no idea. It's like when
started in like 2004, 5, and it just kept getting less and less and less. And the first thing it started with was the news. I was like, I can't.
Yes,
couldn't. But I would still watch, like the kids had like their little shows they like to watch, like Vampire Diaries and stuff like that. So I'd see that stuff on the TVs, at home. But no, I think that was a huge thing for me too. I just got away from that.
Yeah, but see, am I not right though? See, and it's like, and I see other people. Deborah Sloan says, "TV, what's that?"
Right. It's
See,
been a long time.
And I think there's a lot of people in our chat or watch us that don't watch TV. I watch YouTube a lot more, but I'm looking up a lot of informational stuff. And I do have movies, that I watch occasionally. I'll throw a movie in the DVD player. Most of the time I never finish it, and then I have to watch it the next day or something. But, it's not saying that but I don't listen to all that program. I pick what I want to see. when I want to see it, and watch it for how long I want to watch it. Not this, I sit in front and watch all the commercials and the propaganda and the news and let them feed me with all this. No, I just say no to that. And I go with, what I want to see and what I want to program myself with. And that's like information. And, now I read books more and I watch, a lot of stuff. Somebody says more Rick and Morty. Yeah. Rick and Morty. Now I bought the DVDs. I didn't sit there on whatever show channel that was. And I watched those before, but I
probably do that. Buy those on DVD. They drop some crazy bombs, reality bombs in those shows.
Oh,
It blows my mind. Rick and Morty. I'm like,
oh
whoa.
my, yeah. Yeah,
my
I know.
kids are like, Mom, you gotta see this, and they'll like, look, Mom, and I'm like, whoa, amazing.
Yeah, Rick and Morty is basically a cartoon version of Back to the Future with Marty and the Doc.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a something like that. But Brenda's mom, I watch Food TV Network and Hallmark Channel.
Right on. Hallmark. I know a lot of people that watch Hallmark.
Yeah, they got some good stuff on there. And that's the thing, program yourself with the stuff that you want to watch, music. Listen to music, listen to the 432 hertz or whatever. If you have to, you can get them apps, put it on your phone and play it through there. It's Paul from Newcastle says, 155 quid a year because of the BBC. Yeah. And when you're over there, you have to pay to watch TV, regardless if it's free, just for having a TV in your house. What a kind of crazy place is that?
Wow.
So, but it's all programming. It's programming. It's getting in your head. Just toss it out. Try it. If you do watch a lot of TV, toss it out. Do something different. See how it affects you. Report back.
I think, what if that's 90% of what we're trying to accomplish on our world right now is, because so many of us here have already done this disconnect. But I wonder if that's like the whole thing. It's like we've been so bombarded with all the outside frequencies, we've completely lost the internal dialogue. And that's what most of us are trying to reestablish and learn how to connect with. We're doing it. And, it seems like really recently, a lot of people have fallen off of the TV. And they're not doing it. And a lot of people things are shifting. It's like I'm starting to notice it's in a big way. It's like, I wonder if it's starting to really anchor the power of the intuition and the collective consciousness actually starting to be able to hear one another because our numbers have gotten to a certain amount.
Yeah. Well, look at what it did. Oh, that was next on my list. Sports. People have turned off of the sports because the sports got woke all of a sudden. And, who wants to hear about the NFL players? I'm transgender. I'm gay. I'm this. We're the NFL.
Right.
You know what I do that? Click. You're off the air. Come on, really? Geez.
Yeah. When sports got political, it just seemed a lot of people got really turned off.
Well, yeah, that was the weird thing when the football player took a knee. There was a big thing about that.
And it was politics.
And I'm like, wait, because kneeling for something is a form of respect. Why did it become? Yes, they were protesting, but if they really wanted it to really be a big deal, they would have just said stopped and wouldn't pay attention to it.
Yeah,
right.
They made it a big deal. The guy wanted to be on the knee and he was protesting against, how black people were treated. I understand 100%, but they made it a big deal. And then more players started doing it. And it was a disconnect between those who did and who didn't do it. Yes, it was all a show. And, although they said, oh, we want to be more woke, no, they don't want to be woke. It's all just a show.
Well, it's so funny too, because you look at all the major incidences that have caused a lot of people to freak out. You can see like the storyline, and it's like going to a certain specific destination. And now you hear all the people and the parents and the schools that are freaking out, going, we don't want this belief system, and we don't want this separation and this division. And,
Mhm.
it's profound when you look at the timelines and how things have rolled out. It's so crystal clear. It's like divide and conquer, man. They're
It,
trying
it
so hard.
it
Yeah.
is amazing. And in the protests where they were looting and they were destroying the cities,
Mhm.
they were
Yeah.
destroying the lower class parts of the city. They were
Yeah.
actually the people who were most needed these places are now don't have those places anymore. And no one understands that. Though they're looting to protest to get their word across and da da da. No, it's a show. Their city was just the parts of the city that needed more help was destroyed. It's driving me crazy that no one notices this. And my liberal friends are all up in arms about, we have to support the black. Yes, I support the black people, but Black Lives Matter is an organization to gain money for the people who are part of Black Lives
We need
Matter.
to,
It's not helping
Yeah.
anybody.
we need to
Yeah.
focus on protecting our communities, because that's what's at risk. What's at risk is our schools, our homes, our
Yes.
our everything. We got to protect our communities as a community, and that would require unity and cooperation. And I really think it's that simple. If people could figure that out, it would be a way better place to live, because a lot of places right now, people don't feel safe at all.
No, well,
Yeah.
it goes back to manipulating the truth, where Hillary Clinton came out with "It takes a village." Yes, we have to be on the small scale, help each other out. But they manipulated it and they warped it and they destroyed it and they made it a forced thing, and then they made it. It was a money making scam of these people. It's crazy how they take the truth. Yes, that's right. Like socialism.
And they
Socialism is a
invert it.
beautiful idea, but when it goes into activity, it becomes a money making scheme.
I was going to say, when it's a humanitarian cause, not a profit cause.
Yeah.
Everything becomes profit. Of it becomes behind the scenes that
Yeah.
we're helping we're helping these people. They're not. If you look at what they're doing, is they're laundering money behind the scenes, and I know this. And my liberal friends are supporting all the liberal, and I'm like, no. Like, well, you're a Republican. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't support any of them. They're all scum. We have to get rid of all of them. Oh, you want to, like when they stormed the Capitol, they didn't storm the Capitol. That was all it was all set up. It was all set
You
up.
know, you know what's
Yeah.
terrible? It's
Craziness.
we see some of the most worst atrocities on our planet is when we look at all of our ancient architecture and history that's been destroyed through
Hmm.
these types of
Oh, yes.
rebellions and stuff. It's like, what does humanity think that they're going to benefit by destroying each other's history and
Hmm.
the history? It doesn't even make sense. It's like, guys, don't you understand? This is all being done strategically, and
Hmm.
they're putting us against each other, because every time they do that, they win and we lose. It's like, when are people going to figure this out?
Hmm.
It's time to come together and say, maybe we're okay, and other things might be wrong, but we actually can be okay, and we actually kind of like each other.
Yes,
So
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
yeah.
and I listen. This is so funny, and I've always, and I hate I've said this for the longest time, is that when you look at little kids, they're not racist. They're
No, I
not
know, they're
transgender.
so
They're,
precious.
yeah, they don't care which kid is a boy or a girl. They just want to play with each other and have a good time, right? Okay.
Yeah, well, haven't you noticed too, like the white kids and the black kids, they're drawn together like magnets because they're not the same.
Yeah.
And they're so curious about one another. So they usually end up being the best friends first,
Hmm.
Yeah.
because they know there's something different, and they're fascinated. They're like, wow, do you want to be my friend? And you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're taught this bad behavior,
Yeah.
because boy, when they're let loose, just free and young, you can put 30 kids together and you'll see that happen time and time again. The children that are not like one another are drawn together the fastest because of the curiosity factor. And it's
Now,
wonderful.
now, Trina, this is gonna blow your mind, and I know you're smiling from ear to ear. But, and I always smile. I've been saying that for years, and I agree totally with you. But I just heard on the news the other day that the government has come out with a survey and says that kids become racist at between 3 and 6 months old.
Not true.
And I thought, what? I was like,
A lie.
who did
Total
that?
lie.
We got to
Yeah.
start indoctrinating them against racism at
No.
almost after birth, because at 3 to 6 months old, they start to become, racist. And I'm like, what?
How could they even know that? How are they demonstrating their choices when they're 3 months old? Really? Come on, seriously.
Yeah. Or, I mean,
Wow.
you don't care at that point.
No, I've
like
seen, I used to teach and I used to have to volunteer for my kids' school. And, this started when she was 3. So no, I've seen these children and I've seen them every new school year. I've seen it over and over and over again. They had no idea about color until they brought up their friends and introduced their new friend to their parents. And their parents would deter them from pursuing that relationship. It would never be the children. You could tell that something happened to them that night when they went home. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And then they came back and they weren't so friendly the next morning. I've seen this over and over again.
Yeah.
Naturally, children don't do it, but
Yeah.
they learn it, and they do learn it as soon as they're introduced to it. So the younger you do introduce them to it, the younger they will do it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Steve
That's not
says
natural.
my children didn't even see color till their teachers and social media put emphasis it. Put it.
Absolutely. And that was when I was a little girl. When I saw my first Black woman, I was so amazed. I literally walked up to her and grabbed her hand in the grocery store and I asked her if she was Chinese. My mom about died of embarrassment. And she laughed so hard. I thought she was the most beautiful, fascinating thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I was so curious. That's the natural wonder of a child when they see something that's not like them after they understand their self, because they got to identify with themselves in the mirror first.
Mhm.
But once they identify with self, then they start to see the differences in people. They don't even do that until they get the identification in the mirror of self, because they don't even get it
Mhm.
until they get that concept. And that's around 16 to 18 months, 20 months. They get a
Yeah.
hold of the identity.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah. So
Children
we're
are
gonna-
so pure and beautiful. I'm telling you, they're the masters of the world. If we would just ask them what we should do, because they would know the best answer. I swear they would. I really
yeah,
do.
because
I really-
they just think for themselves. They don't have all this other influence on them.
They want the best for everybody. Most every single child, really,
Yeah.
they really like, if they're young enough before they're like traumatized, they just think everybody should have their own pony. You should have your own circus. They think everybody should have their everything, like a house and food and shelter. Oh, that's ridiculous. Everybody gets that. But no, we should have balloon parties on Tuesday. That's how they think. They really they think on how can I bring joy to the people around me. That's like their primary objective is how can we have fun and play, and we'll need bubbles and balloons, and they're planning the party, just
Mhm.
always planning the party. That's
Yeah.
how it rolls in their head, and it's beautiful.
Yep. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. They're saying in the chat that about 7 years old, the ego is matured. Birth to 7, most impressionable age of development, organic intelligence.
Yeah, they used to, when I used to go to school, they would talk about the 0 to 5 Jello mold. And they would say that the foundation is set from 0 to 5. That Jello mold is pretty set. And it's still modifies, it can all the way up to 9 or 10 when they start getting into puberty, because then they go into a different kind of transition. But yeah, the children are, they're profound. They're
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Delaney Pearl Jones said something about, I can't believe she was a young lady at one time. Look at that. When I was little in 1978-ish, old white women loved me. My mom was green-eyed, redhead, Irish.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They do. Oh, yes. Absolutely, Delaney.
Yes, she's starting a one-woman comedy show. I'm waiting.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right
Anyway, but anyway, what was it? We're gonna all go in our minds. Now listen to this. We're all gonna close our eyes. Imagine we are traveling through to wherever it is that Suzanne Shashi lives. I'm saying that wrong probably, but Suzanne's out there on her deck, probably with a cup of coffee, listening to all of us talk. Probably looking at the big moon outside because everybody's talking about the big red moon tonight. I looked at it last night. It was huge. And we're all sitting there with her. Here's to you. Now that makes me happy. Yes. Oh, that's good. Suzanne, nice deck. Yes. Anyway, there you go. I love it. But anyhow,
how's everybody been doing energetically? Everybody feeling good? How's everybody doing in chat? Everybody okay? Anybody feeling funky spiritual energy? Because I've been hearing a lot of that's going on. And I really think that it's super important whenever anybody's feeling anything off balance, if we can come together and just collectively give a little love and support and protection to all of us, and all of us that receive that our web of connection expands and it goes to all of them, and then all of theirs goes through and it just expands and expands and expands. Just keep sending each other love, support, and protection, so we can be the frequency we want to see.
That's right. Suzanne says she doesn't have that cup of coffee. She has a bottle of Blue Moon beer.
Oh, right on. Yummy. You got the orange in it? Did you put orange in it?
That is so wonderful. You know
Yeah,
what?
orange slices are awesome with Blue Moon beer.
Oh, there you go. Never
They really are.
Never had.
As bartender, so I know that.
Paul says he's got my cup of tea. Yes, go Paul. I like tea. I forgot my tea tonight. I don't know where it is, but afterwards I'm gonna have to drink some tea. I drink tea all day. Zigzagzilla has come to join us. Hi,
Zigzagzilla. It's been a while.
Yes, he is. It's been a while. I'm getting him on one of these days here.
Right on.
So, and Project Skyfall's in the house. Wow, I haven't seen him in a while either. So, thanks for coming. Anyway, what else is I gonna say? Oh, yeah. So we got lots of things to be happy about, and connecting to your spirit guides and things like that is important. Listening to your intuition. Now that I know my spirit guides or spirits out there can be happy, it makes me feel better. And I'm going to try to do stuff to make me feel better. So I project that. And then, so this is one for you, Lucky. What's the best thing? Maybe your guides can give us a little info for all of us. What can we do to listen to our guides better? I mean, instead of ignoring them, because they're probably our little voices or our higher selves or something like that. What's a few of those little steps that we can do this week, maybe just get started, baby steps to listen to them?
Well, it comes down to, the first step is to trust yourself. You have to have personal, respect for yourself, self-confidence. Wow, I lost a word. Yes, you have to have self-confidence. That's the first step, because the problem is there's going to be the question of, well, is that my voice? Am I making this up? The spirit who's giving me instructions, of course, is using your own frame of reference to talk to you. And you have to trust that. And the more times when you trust that little tiny voice that gives you a little tiny spark of intuition, it's going to get easier and better. It's practice like riding a bicycle. like anything else, you have to keep doing it little by little, baby steps. But most important, you have to trust yourself. When you get that voice that tells you to do something, just trust, like, well, yeah, okay, I'll do it, and then go with it. If you have an aversion to someone, listen to that. There might be, but your old ego fighting you. But the thing about the ego is it's like a dog. It's like a watchdog, where the ego, if it's trained well, will give you insight, will give you information, will work with you. But if it's not trained well, of course, it's gonna, mess with you and make a mess of things and just ruin your house psychologically.
Yes.
So that's the thing about intuition, where you'll meet someone that go, I don't trust them. Oh, it must be my jealousy. Well, it could be true. It could be a jealousy, but there's a spark. There's a reason why you initially, it might be blown out of proportion, but you have to come down and, find the small thing and, trust your intuition at first. Still, you still have to live your life. You don't want to fight with people. You don't want to judge people, but it's a balancing act. And when someone judges you, it's whether you take it or not is your responsibility. When you judge someone else, again, it's you trying to expend it upon them. So, again, you're judging someone else. So there's something about it that you're picking up. So in your own head, which is the worst thing we could do to ourselves, is judge ourselves. But you have to listen to those little voices and trust yourself and go with it. And if you need to take baby steps, small steps, it's like manifestation, where you want to manifest, $1 million. Well, first you want to I want to manifest $1 or $2 will just pop into my lap, and it'll happen.
Yeah. Instead of I know how many people go out and get that lottery ticket. I'm gonna win $1 million.
Mhm.
Why don't you hope for 25?
Exactly. You take the baby steps, and the reason why you won't get the $1 million is because it's out of proportion. Where it's too big, you won't believe in it. But there's a possibility that something could happen where you could actually get $1,000 or 1,000 or 10,000. Something could fall the universe could work together where you could actually get $5, $100, $1,000. But again, when you want to manifest something, it has to be just out of reach. It's possible. It's not quite probable, but it's possible. Those are the kind of manifestations that work. Again, if you want to believe in yourself, you have to, it's going to take work. Well, something you'll imagine and you'll hear, and you're like, well, that can't be possible. And then you kind of push it away. But then you just believe it a little bit, and it'll become more in alignment with yourself. And self-confidence is the biggest key, and it's the toughest thing to get over. I'm always fighting it myself with the little. My problem is that this whole week I haven't been negative, but I have been manipulating people. I didn't even realize it, because I'm the kind of person where, okay, I don't want to stop anyone. I want to find a path forward. When we have obstacles, I don't want to blame game. I want to identify the problem, find a solution, go forward. Well, I work with a couple of people who are big on finding the blame, bringing a spotlight onto the problem and teaching this person, how to do better. And like, that's not going to teach them. It's going to make worse. And the other ones are going to see that, and it's going to make it worse. So these people, there's a couple of them, I've got everyone against them by accident, because I was working with everyone else on how we work, as a team. I'm in a weird position where I have power, but I'm not a manager, but I have a power of different people. And I've convinced them to come to me to find a solution forward. And I realized I formed a fiefdom where I've all these people on my side. I'm new to the department, and I've got them all against these people. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I've created a bigger problem, because I'm making the solution, but I've created another problem by getting, by putting a spotlight on those who are not working well. And management is realizing that my way is working better. Again, I'm new to the group. I'm new to the company, new to the department, and I've caused problems. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, next week, how am I going to fix this? And, because I'm always I want a team mentality. I don't want us versus them. I want us together moving forward.
I was going to say, is there a way to find what's good about what they've done and utilize those strengths and then bring forth the newness?
Yes.
Yeah,
but
that's
it requires them to get on board, which is my biggest challenge, which I'm kind of excited about because they're more of obstacles. They're more people to create obstacles. Well, I have to convince them and talk to them, and they trust me imperatively. That they trust me 100%. Everyone trusts me, which is my problem. Which is I've got everyone. I got like puppets, and I'm like, I can do that. I know that, and I don't like that. I'm like, what am I doing? And of course, the ego in my says, well, we can make this work. We can fix this, but they have to work within your, you kind of like the sheepdog, where I've got to,
Well, you're making sense, and corporate rule normally doesn't make sense because they've never done the work actually, so they don't do things correctly.
right.
You're probably just making a whole lot of sense, and everybody around you is going, "Wow, that really does make sense."
Well, that's the problem. Was with the person who hired me knew that I was the kind of person to, team mentality, which is what they needed. They had so many problems where the idea with corporations says, you have to fix it. We have to identify the problem. And yes, you identify the problem, but you take the person out of it, use it as a training opportunity rather than a blame opportunity. And these two people have the old mentality of the blame opportunity, and, to teach them by, slapping their hand. And my point is, let's focus on, okay, here's the problem. They made a mistake. Corporate says they need to be retrained. And I'm like, no, we need to identify the problem with the way this process is run. These people are doing 3 things at once. Multitasking doesn't work. Oh, but we're doing it for, it's been never been a problem before. No, that's not. And I pointed out that they said, we've done this, we've been doing this for years and it's never been a problem. Like, no, you haven't. It's evolved. It's changed. It's not the same what it was even 3 months ago rather than 3 years ago. And I identified it and focused on the situation rather than the person. And it was a challenge. And it made me angry at one point because they were blaming the people and they wanted to put the person on the problem list. And I made it a point. No, we're not putting this person's name on it. We're putting the situation down and we're making a path forward. And I drive people crazy with what is our path forward? And my boss loves that I say that. And he goes, no, that's the mindset we need. I want everyone to say we need a path forward. And it was one of the weirdest things is that I'm only been there 3 months and I've been taking control of different projects because of my path forward mentality. It's just how things are.
You got a good point there. The path forward, that with, and not putting the blame game on anybody, but relearning and moving the path forward. It's like us, we all know certain things, but there's people around us, and then we just say, oh, well, they don't know, and we do, and we can't, we just need to make a path forward, and they'll join in and say, hey, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a path forward.
Real life.
Yeah, with some, a lot of times as people say, okay, this is wrong, redo it, without any other instruction. And for me, it's like, oh, okay, this is a mistake. Mm-hmm. I want to move forward from here, and this is where we want to be from here. And how do you think we can get there? And then, we can have a discussion, and they may be way off base on how to get there. But we know where the goal is, and now we can talk to them. They know where the goal is. I know where the goal is. How can we work together to reach the goal? While the old guard is very much like, this is wrong. You figure it out. And that's just not me. And it's become where I've actually been asked to run a situation where I will be the only. I've done night shift my previous life, and they've asked me to do it again, to work with the night shift, and because they've been having problems, and and I'm going to be the only representative for quality on the night shift, and it's quality documentation. It's a crazy situation, but these people need, because they're just lost. They're just lost. It's not that they're lost because they're not smart enough. It's lost because they're always miscommunicated, because they know what they wanted, it went wrong, and then they're told, okay, you did it wrong and you fix it, and then they're just, it's just not working out.
crazy, Lucky. It's like I'm listening to you tell about the story, and that's like this is like the story of where we're all at right now.
Yeah, I'm hearing the same thing. I'm hearing the
Yeah,
same
it's like
thing.
we're all looking for solutions. Everybody's blaming everybody, but the blame game isn't doing anybody any good. We're trying to find a path forward.
Hmm.
And I
And
think that this is probably what would, for me, seem to bring a lot of people a lot of happiness and joy is to have some kind of focus or direction on how do we look at this in such a broad scope to where we can start finding some tangible, logical solutions to how everything is rolling. I think it's a path forward focus might be exactly what we're looking for.
I mean, that's all, it's that's what the thing is. I know where I want to be. How do I get there? And try to go there. A lot of times, that's one of the biggest things we have is actually just doing it. Um, it's hard. It's sometimes we know we need to get to. It's difficult, and then we just say it's just too hard. I don't want to go there. I'm getting the image of like crossing a stream, and it's like the rocks are slippery. There's no bridge. What do I do? And we know we need to get to the other side, and like forget it. I'm not going. Well, it might just be walking the side of the stream to find a bridge, or walking in those slippery rocks, falling in and getting wet, and still going anyways. It's one of the things is just sometimes the biggest obstacle we have is our own self of just not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We blame ourselves. But anyway, yeah, our hour has come and gone, and that was some really wise words, I tell you. It really fit together with everything. It's amazing how sometimes your own life situations are, in a micro, and then the whole world is really just the same situation, only on the macro.
Mhm.
I mean, it's the same thing, only you just involve millions and millions more people with it.
Yeah.
On a big scale.
Yep.
So all I can say is we're going to Suzanne's house. We're going to have some Blue Moon beer tonight. Put yourself in that mindset and watch
you
the
just
moon.
you just reminded me of what I was seeing when you were out when we were talking. Remember when Wayne saw us in a garden and he was inviting us for tea?
Mhm.
I literally saw that the garden parties, how many of us are coming together in that garden, and we're having tea and your favorite libation, and we're talking and working together while we sleep. And then I saw the purple planet. So I keep seeing I think that what we're doing while we're sleeping, I think is really making a difference. So I just kept seeing all of you in the garden, and we were together. So
Nice.
I think we are.
Awesome. That's
That
all
makes
good.
me happy.
So that's right. Go to the purple planet. I'll see y'all there tonight.
Right.
It's going right by the fountain, and then the buildings over that way. Take the right hand turn. That path goes down by the beach. That's where the music's playing. Wayne's hanging out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's right. All right. Next week we'll have another great show. I won't be on call. Life will be great. I'm tired. I worked a lot last night, so I am struggling. But
Sweet
you know
dreams,
what?
Robert.
I am going to get me some sleep after this show's done. But you know what's the best part? I love y'all. And do as what we always say. Be the frequency you want to receive.
That's it.
Peace, everybody. Love y'all.
Love you.
Baby, do well.